There are very few micro brands that just do it for me, and Traska is definitely one of them. I just love everything about Traska. Their clean, classic designs, their brand voice, their prices, everything. I'd even go as far as saying that they're my favorite micro brand, which is strange because I haven't owned a single watch from them. Well, that's finally changed. After 2 long years of looking from the outside, I've pulled the trigger on a Traska Summiteer. Is this watch going to live up to all my expectations? Let's find out. The Summiteer comes in 4 different colors, and you even get to choose from 2 case sizes, either a 36mm or a 38mm. I love smaller watches, so I went with the 36mm version in blue, and I couldn't be happier. This is by far one of the most comfortable watches I've worn. The compact dimensions are absolutely perfect for a GADA watch, and I love how the case profile flows into the bracelet. It's also incredibly slim, so you're going to have no problem slipping this under a shirt cuff. The case is almost entirely brush, and the bezel has a brush sunburst effect that catches the light in interesting ways. The only polished surfaces are on the chamfers around the bezel and the sides of the case. Now, I don't usually like polished case sides. They seem to scratch up the moment you look at them wrongly. But Traska has something special up their sleeves. Stainless steel has a rating of 200 HV on the Vickers hardness scale, but Traska has a proprietary hardening process that increases it to 1200 HV. That's 6 times harder than regular stainless steel. Now, those numbers seem impressive, but does it actually hold up in regular use? Well, I've been wearing this as my daily for the past couple of months, and I can't find a single scratch on it, even on that polished case side. I haven't exactly been babying this watch either, so it's fair to say that that coating really works. Like the case, that sapphire crystal isn't gonna pick up any scratches anytime soon either. It has a beautiful dome profile, and the clear AR coating does a great job at minimizing reflections. Moving on to the dial. It's a very interesting shade of blue. It's so difficult to get the right color across on video. It looks almost black in some lighting, it looks deep blue in other lighting, and it even looks bright blue sometimes. It's like a box of chocolates, you don't know what you're gonna get. The concave inner sector gives this dial a much needed visual flair, but what's really gonna catch your attention are those applied indices. They're made entirely from blocks of lume. I've handled a few watches like this, but I still get excited every time I see it. The indices on the Summiteer look very 3-dimensional, and they add a ton of depth to the dial. I like how the sword handset looks on this dial. They make it very easy to tell the time at a glance, which is something I always appreciate in my watches. The hour and minute hand are polished, but the second hand pops with a coat of white paint. As great as the handset looks, it doesn't really hold up well on the macro. I noticed some rough edges on the hour and minute hands, and there were even some blemishes near the tips. I noticed rough edges on a few other Traska reviews too, so I can only assume that all their hands are like this. But if you have a Traska, let me know in the comments if you have rough hands on your unit. Personally, I expected much better hand finishing, especially considering the price I paid for this watch. During the night, the BGW9 lume has a decent initial glow, but it fades off relatively quickly, which is quite surprising considering they made entirely from lume. The lume on my unit also looks quite patchy. There were some dark spots on the numerals and indices, and there was even a missing chunk of material on the 9 o'clock index. As you could probably guess, I wasn't happy about that at all, so I reached out to Traska. They confirmed this was a defect and offered to swap the dial for me under warranty, so off it's gone back to the US. I'll post some photos on Instagram once I get the watch back from them, so follow me there if you want to see how that went. On to the movement. The watch is powered by the Miyota 9039, which is the no-date variant of the trusty 9000 series. I've had this movement on a couple of watches and I love them in all those watches. It always performs flawlessly, and the example in this unit kept great time. I also love seeing that smooth sweep of the second hand. It's just so nice to look at. Another thing that's nice to look at is the bracelet. It has a nice taper from 20mm at the lux to 16mm at the clasp. The links have smooth edges and incredible articulation. They can articulate in either direction, and you can even stack them on top of each other. That frankly insane articulation and those female end links make the bracelet drape around your wrist. It just feels incredibly comfortable to wear. This is probably the best bracelet I've had on a sub $1,000 watch, and as a bracelet guy, I absolutely love it. The mill clasp has 5 adjustment positions, so you're not gonna have an issue getting the perfect fit. But the icing on the cake is that perlage finish on the inner section. It's completely unnecessary, but I love how they went the extra mile with it, and it looks incredible. So looking back at my whole experience, was my first Traska worth the wait? Well, yes and no. I mean, the watch itself is incredible. I love the design, I love the high quality, and I love the price point. But I did not love the QC issues I had on my unit. I know that these things happen though, so what's important is actually how brands deal with them. In my case, Traska was super responsive and offered a solution, so I have to give them props for that. After all of this, are they still my favorite micro brand? Well, I just bought my second Traska watch, so I guess the answer for now is still a resounding yes. If you're looking for a GADA watch around $600, the Summiteer is a fantastic option, especially if you like to wear your watches on a bracelet. It might not be perfect, but it ticks a lot of boxes. And that scratch resistant coating means you can put it through its paces without worrying about scuffing it up. That's a peace of mind that I really appreciate, and I know that many of you would probably feel the same. But over to you. Are you a fan of Traska, and what do you think of the Summiteer? I'll be dropping a head-to-head video comparing this to the Baltic Hermetic Tourer in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in both these models. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.